Would I be the a-hole if I take my nieces back to my sister's house? My 24 female sister 28 has 2 kids, 6 female, 4 female, and asked me if I could babysit them for the weekend, starting today, 3 days ago. I told her I couldn't. I was exhausted from work, and I really just wanted the time to myself and my boyfriend this weekend. She was mad, but I figured she'd get over it. Yesterday, she called me again to ask if I could babysit, and I told her that I could next weekend, and then she went on to explain that she wanted time to herself. I told her to ask our parents because they were tired and likely want to see them, but for whatever reason, she didn't want to. I said no again, that I was sorry, but I was able to do it next weekend. Today, I wake up to banging on my door, the doorbell ringing a few times, so I go see what the hell the problem is. It is my nieces, with backpacks just standing there. They're not particularly close to me because of the pandemic, so they look more confused than anything. I'm tired as hell. I feel like I'm in no shape to watch children for 3 days, let alone children that can barely do anything on their own. Not to mention my apartment isn't child-proofed. The kids are eating a snack right now, and I feel beyond disrespected that my sister dropped her kids off at my place with no warning, completely ignored me telling her that I was tired. Furthermore, she was gone by the time I answered the door, and I'm mad that she left literal babies by themselves on my doorstep. I could have not been home. Then what? The complex I live in is across from a little strip mall within walking distance, so my car could be in the lot. But that doesn't mean I'm home. Would I be the a-hole if I drove them back to her house? I just feel like I'm not mentally prepared enough this week. Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Group text to her and your parents saying, I'm calling CPS if the kids are not picked up within the next 45 minutes. This is the best solution. Your sister abandoned her children. What if she dropped them off when you weren't home? It's the same thing. Exactly. I'm 20, and my mom will still wait for me to go in the door if she drops me off anywhere, just to make sure I'm safe. Not the a-hole. There was something seriously wrong with Opie's sister. What if Opie had decided to go out or even away for the weekend? Then there are 2 small children on their own with no idea what's going on and no way to look after themselves. Calling CPS is 100% in the realm of possibilities. Not the a-hole. However, I won't drive them back. I will call her and tell her to get herself back and pick up her kids. And if she's not here in an hour, you're calling the police. Also not going to babysit them next weekend or ever since she's so disrespectful. This, exactly. She abandoned her kids at your door? She didn't even know for sure you were home. Yeah, she has 1 hour to get them or the police are coming for them. And I would never babysit those kids as a favor for her ever. And now for the little update. I made a group chat with my parents and my sister, and made a recap of the situation for my parents. I said that if she wasn't coming in the next 45 minutes, I'd be calling CPS. My sister was frantically begging me not to. But like I said, and many of y'all said, she left literal babies on my doorstep without even knowing if I was home or not. Then she goes on about how she needed a break, and that she was desperate. At this point, the chat turned into a video chat, and I felt like I could hear the distress in her voice. So I do believe she's having some mental problems at the moment. She said she was coming to pick them up, and my parents interjected that they'd be happy to take the girls. My parents also suggested that the girls live with them for a while if my sister was actually in distress. I agree with that, and also said I'd help my sister find a counselor. So now I'm gathering the girls' stuff, giving them some orange slices, and we're on our way to my parents' house right now. Thank y'all for the suggestions. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my sister and her husband out upon discovering that she was making my niece hide used pads in my daughter's closet? My sister and her husband, daughter 14, my niece, and stepson 17, moved in with us a month ago. My husband and I have a 16-year-old daughter, and we live in a 4-bedroom house. My niece shares a room with my daughter while my step-nephew has a room. My daughter didn't mind sharing because she loves her cousin. They have a ton of stuff in common. It all started after my niece had her period days ago. My daughter was complaining about bad smell coming from her cousin's side of closet. She came to me to help her address this issue since she said she suspected her cousin hiding something with strong smell inside, but said she'd never snoop in her cousin's side of closet even if it originally belongs to her. I decided to look inside my niece's side of closet myself, after my sister brushed it off and didn't let me search. At the very bottom, I found a garbage bag with used pads inside. I'm not sure how many, but I was in shock and dismay. I was absolutely disgusted and very, very confused. I immediately brought this up to my sister. My sister's initial reaction was to yell that I had no permission to snoop through her teenage daughter's belongings. I reminded her the entire closet is my daughter's and told her to stop stalling and explain the deal with those used pads being stored inside a closet. She said she told her daughter to put her used pads in a garbage bag instead of tossing them in the guest bathroom that her stepson was using because her husband complained about his son not having to see the stuff. So she had her daughter keep the pads in the bag inside a closet throughout the day to take the bag out later at night. I couldn't believe it. I called her horrible to subject my niece and my daughter to bad smell and lack of hygiene just because her husband and stepson can't handle the stuff. I shamed her for her god-awful solution, and she apologized. But I told her to pack and leave after my brother-in-law said this was a family matter that I shouldn't get involved in. My sister pleaded to let it go, then called me cruel for kicking her family out. I said she should be talking to her husband and putting end to this controlling behavior, and that she was doing both her daughter and her stepson a disservice with how blindly she follows her husband's unreasonable demands. She could have told me about this, and I would have let my niece use the main bathroom. My sister's excuse was that my husband would have said no, but couldn't be further from the truth. He was shocked when I told him, but said kicking them out was an overreaction. My mom was upset too, saying the kids are innocent in this and have exams, so I should have waited till they finished. Now for the top comments. Not day hall. I think you should offer to continue to provide a home for your niece. Possibly your nephew if you feel so inclined, but I'm not sure how entrenched he is in his father's stupidity. Usually I'd say that you should have offered the opportunity to correct and do better, but your sister sort of threw that out the window. She refused to allow her daughter to ask to use another bathroom in the house. She is the cause of the smell because she told her daughter to do it. She knew what the smell was, but told you to leave it alone. She got mad at you for not wanting every piece of clothing your daughter owns to smell nasty and investigating. She stood next to her husband, silent as he told you that shaming her 14-year-old daughter for having a healthy, functioning body is not your business and to just leave it alone and let them continue to mistreat the child. Screw all that. Your sister doesn't want a solution. She wants you to turn a blind eye to the abuse of your niece in your home. You have no obligation to allow that mistreatment to continue under your roof. Yeah, I would really hate for the niece to get the impression from this incident that her bodily functions were so shameful that she lost her safe home. Because depending on how her mom and stepdad have explained it to her, the sequence of events might very well look like. Niece's period. Period is so disgusting she needs to hide the evidence far from any men in the family. Evidence is discovered. Niece didn't hide it well enough. Niece is so disgusting that they need to leave the home. This might sound absurd because obviously Opie's objection was the exact opposite of that. And she's totally on the side of the two teen girls here. But I don't trust the stepdad and mom here to not blame the niece for all this. Not day hall. This is justified if for nothing else than to dispose of this mentality. This was a family matter that I shouldn't get involved in. If they're using your house, then that means they respect the house on your terms. Mystery smells most definitely are your business. However, once you've made sure that they understand that, it's probably best to let them back in. It's one thing to assert dominance and teach them a lesson. It's a completely different thing to just give up and cut them off. Not day hall. That's freaking disgusting. It honestly is super alarming. Makes you really wonder what the hell is going on in their heads that would make that right. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for banning my picky eater brother-in-law from my house and telling him is not welcome until I say he is? Backstory. My wife and I have been married for a year. I've known her and her brother, Jason male 20, for over a decade. They have a 10-year difference. For as long as I've known him, Jason has been a picky eater. His diet consists of fast food and junk food. Essentially at get-togethers, his parents have always gotten him special orders. We'd all be eating salads or some kind of meat, and he'd be eating a fried chicken sandwich. He also smokes cannabis oil. This isn't a problem for me, mostly because how he was raised isn't my problem, and also that I enjoy fast food on occasion and I smoke grass. Nothing wrong with that, and I've tried my best to teach Jason to smoke responsibly. However, there are two things that concern me. First, my in-laws are against smoking. His smoking's gone far. He throws tantrums when he can't smoke, and once got his father arrested due to his habit of running away when he got caught. The second is that Jason throws tantrums when he doesn't get what he wants. For example, recently my wife and I have her cousin and his wife over. Jason came too and asked us to get Buffalo Wild Wings. Jason's order came in wrong. He wanted boneless and got bone-in wings. He started yelling, refusing to sit down and eat, and generally being a brat, all because he didn't get the right food. We called it Buffalo Wild Wings, got a refund, and got him his boneless wings. But I warned him that while I don't care what he does at home, at my house we do things calmly. My wife and I have stressful jobs. Being more stressed on top of that isn't something we want. Beyond that, I was raised to eat what's at the table. Either find something you want or stay hungry. No one should cater to you unless you have dietary needs, allergies, kosher/halal/Hindu, etc. Things came to a head last week. I was in Austin with a group of friends, and my wife decided to host a Father's Day lunch for our families. Jason lost his grass pen and threw a tantrum the day he flew out. On Father's Day, people came over to our house. My folks, hers, my aunt and uncle, my cousin, and Jason. My folks got some Mediterranean takeout for the group. Jason refused to eat it and demanded Pizza Hut. All the Pizza Huts were closed, and he refused anything else, with things escalating to pouting, yelling, and screaming, until finally my in-laws apologized and left with him. I found this out while preparing for a night out, with my stressed wife crying to me over the phone that her parents had left embarrassed in front of my family. I texted Jason immediately and told him I'd warned him before and he's no longer welcome in my home until he learns to behave. My wife and mother-in-law agree with me, for now. I've so far been told I may be the a-hole by my parents, who think I might alienate myself from my in-laws. My dad's reasoning is that they'll all forgive him, but won't forgive me if I stand my ground and not let him come over. So Reddit, am I the a-hole or do you agree with my folks? Now for the comments. Oh, hell no. I was fully prepared to say you're the a-hole, but your title is wrong. You're not banning him from being a picky eater. You're banning him because he acts like a 2-year-old. Not an a-hole. This. Picky eater has nothing to do with it. What he chooses to eat would be a terrible reason to ban him by itself. His behavior is unacceptable though, and you are not at all obligated to deal with it in your own home. Not an a-hole. Yeah, this isn't about being a picky eater. It's about behaving like a toddler. He's old enough that he can pick up food for himself if he's heading to Opie's house. I only suggest this because they're family, and casual enough it can be seen as a solution, not an issue. I wouldn't suggest taking your own junk food just anywhere, but in this situation, if he wants it that badly, he can provide it. Not an a-hole. The problem isn't that he's a picky eater, it's that he's an a-hole. He is far too old to be acting like a toddler. I wouldn't let him in my house either. My dad's reasoning is that they'll all forgive him, but won't forgive me if I stand my ground and not let him come over. So Reddit, am I the a-hole or do you agree with my folks? This begs the question of why. Why would they repeatedly forgive him but hold you to a high standard? Because they have catered to this behavior for 20 years and created this monster, while you are a seemingly functioning adult with a spouse, job, and home? I notice you don't mention brother-in-law having a job, and I'm very curious in how the heck he got his dad arrested during a tantrum. Behavior like this doesn't just correct itself overnight, it only escalates. How long will it be until he gets violent with someone, or decides to start smashing your things because he can't smoke up? What he needs are firm rules and a therapist. Not to mention his parents sound like they could use a break from him, where they can sit and have a nice dinner without needing to bust out a kid menu for their adult child. No, brother-in-law's in college, and he does have a part-time job. As for how he got his dad arrested, he invented charges, went to the cops hoping to threaten my father-in-law with arrest, and instead ended up getting my father-in-law arrested when he got scared because the cop leading the team told him he'd be screwed if he wound up wasting his time. Charges were dropped a few hours later, but he then threw another tantrum a couple of days later, and my wife called 911 on him. This led to him being hospitalized for a few weeks in a mental health facility. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not taking down my drawings, even though they disturb my niece who's living with us? So I, 18, have been cataloging my dreams for a while, but it was only at the beginning of 2020 that I started to draw them. Now, I don't want to be too edgy, but I've been through some crap as a kid, and it had definitely influenced my dreams. As a result, some of my drawings are creepy. Most of them are just odd dream things, but there are some sinister/creepy drawings there. Anyway, my niece, 17, started living with us at the beginning of June. She's been sharing my room with me, and she hates my drawings. She says they're gross and creepy and that she doesn't like them at all. She asked me when she first moved in if I could take them down, but I said no. Now, 27 days later, she's been complaining to my mom about them because my mom asked me if I would take them down. I said no again. I reminded my mom that niece is simply bunking with me, and whilst she's welcome, she, niece, has no authority over what I do to my room. My mom pulled the "you're an adult" card, and whilst that's true, I turned 18 in February and would not class myself as an actual adult yet. Now niece is super upset and keeps going on and on about safe spaces and how I'm a terrible person. Am I the a-hole? Also, niece was originally meant to stay in the spare room, but she didn't like it, so asked to bunk with me. I said yes because I like her and I didn't think it would cause these issues. I also pay rent for my room. Not the a-hole because 1, you're paying rent for your room, but you still have to share it. 2, there is a spare room but niece doesn't like it. This situation is ridiculous. If you're paying rent for your room but she's in there with you, then either you should pay less or she should start paying. Also, if she doesn't like your room or what's in it, she can drag her butt to the spare room. At this point, I think it would be reasonable to insist she stay in the spare room regardless of what she wants. After reading the OP's responses, not the hell. She chose to bunk with you instead of in the spare room. If she doesn't like it, there is a whole empty room she could move to. Also, you pay rent. So, were you okay with this arrangement, or did your mom allow it against your wishes? That's not fair. You pay rent? Make her use the spare room. What on earth are her reasons for wanting to be in your room when she doesn't like the drawings or the wallpaper, etc.? Not the hell. Since you pay rent, why do you share your room? That should cut your rent in half. You might consider moving out and renting somewhere else. I'm moving out in September for uni. Niece was actually meant to be in the spare room, but she didn't like it, so asked to bunk with me. I said yes, thinking it wouldn't cause this issue. Update. My 26 female best friend, 23 female, might be in love with my husband, 26 male. Where do I go from here? Original post. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both our lives, as we both came from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband. Said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. She was civil to him though because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autistic, and has PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often too. However, last year, my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because at the time I was working at a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed, and I had become busier to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less, and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently, I applied to school and am currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college too. I've been super busy. One day, my husband gets a text and it's from my best friend. She asks if they can talk as she was upset. He took the phone call with me protesting and a few minutes later said, "Sandra, we need to go get Carla. Her father is picking a fight with her." I get upset as we were watching a movie together and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. But we go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did was not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Ever since, when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mother-in-law overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, no, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help, that she's going through a hard time, blah blah blah. It is important to note that my mother-in-law was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close, and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion. And my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match, and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. I asked him how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in the bed with us. He kind of deflated and tried to say, it's different, blah blah blah. His stepfather, Mark, spoke up and said, it's the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with the excuses. James respects Mark quite a lot actually. Mark raised him since he was 8 and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him and that was that. However, I wouldn't be here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. She says it's because she's bored and has no one to talk to. I snap. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation. How when she calls, he answers. How it is making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response, she's just lonely. You're letting it get to you. That night, I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time. He calls, they talk, she complains about her life, etc. Almost like she's his girlfriend or something. I'm starting to find this relationship troubling. It is getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You've set your boundaries and he continues to cross them. Is this how you want your marriage to be? She won't stop as long as your husband responds to her every time. You're right, I have issues standing up for myself. You are standing up for yourself. Your husband is not respecting you. You need to be open with your husband and tell him that his behavior is leading to the end of this relationship. If it tries the she's lonely and you're just jealous, you answer that she's lonely because she preferred to seek the attention of her best friend's husband. And you are jealous because he's given more importance to another woman's comfort over yours, his wife and mother of his child. Him being autistic is not an excuse here. He has difficulty with social clues, not with knowing what is right or wrong. It's not unknown to a person in a committed relationship to develop a crush on someone. What they do about that crush is what matters. Your husband, instead of cutting her off his life and putting effort into the marriage, is letting his feelings for her grow and become an emotional affair. So I'm with you on her probably having feelings for him. But let's be honest here, your husband is at the very least having an emotional affair with that woman. Bipolar, autism, PTSD, don't excuse the fact that he was cool with another woman sleeping in your marital bed. This was weird as heck, and I still don't understand how you just didn't say no. Your husband is choosing to answer her phone calls. He's the one affecting your marriage with his awful behavior. Your mother-in-law saw it. Her husband saw it. Anybody with some sense can see it. I think he can see it and that he likes the attention he's getting from her, and he likes that you're jealous, which you are not being, of his new friendship. If I were you, I'd sit down with him and I'd be clear about how inappropriate him answering her 3 to 8 calls a day when he has a wife and a child. That they can be friends, but that she's taking way too much space into our lives. That if he does not limit his interactions with her and keeps making her a priority, you will be moving out with your kid. That you want couples counseling, and that if he does not agree, then he can find himself a divorce attorney. Again, she's an issue, but she's not your issue.
your husband is. Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him, with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with a resolution in a couple days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Edit number 2. My husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla and she said that we could talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Edit number 3. I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight, alone as her schedule has changed. We are going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully, I will have some news. Now for the full update. This update is hard. Everything about the situation sucks, and I don't know if I will be okay for some time. Baby and I are currently staying with my friend Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or our mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group. As most of you assumed, James and Carla are indeed having an affair. It started about 3 months ago and just turned physical 1 month ago. They were planning on just up and leave after James served me divorce papers. They used a ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact. I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse. That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason? My borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paperwork and left. I'm contacting a lawyer as I am writing this. I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake, and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I called him afterwards and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterwards. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with my delivery of our daughter where I bled my entire labor. I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any strenuous activity for 3 months, including sexual activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all of my doctor's appointments and not getting the action he wanted. I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, it will kill me next time. James wanted at least 2 more kids, and this put an end to his plans. I married a monster. We were together since we were 15, and this is how he repays me? I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I am absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure if I'm going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There is no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have any access to baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice. I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student. They have kicked James out and is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for divorce proceedings. Why did you leave? He's the a-hole. He's the one that gets to leave. It's his house. Inheritance. He only let me stay as a courtesy. We have only been married for a year. The house was his before marriage. Even still, inheritance laws where I'm from are a thing. So even if he got it while married, it's still his. His parents didn't know the full story, but now that they do, he overstayed his welcome. They are so angry. I'm not sure if his relationship with his mom or stepdad are salvageable. I'm so sorry. I hope for the best and brightest future ahead of you, as well as an excellent lawyer. May your soon-to-be ex and his dream snake be dumb enough to answer the door when karma comes knocking. A joke of a man. They deserve each other and will be punished accordingly. Karma doesn't miss in this kind of circumstance. Now Carla will deal with that monster. Lol, she thinks she won. Someone said this on a reality love TV show. You didn't take my man, you took away my problems. Last story. 27 female accused of baby trapping my 28 female fiancé when my tubes are tied. I had an argument with my fiancé this morning. We've been dating for 2 years, engaged since September, and for the most part, everything has been going well. We've been planning a quiet backyard ceremony so that we can save up for a house instead. We've been communicative and managed to get through fights in the past, but this takes the cake. He's been evasive for the past 2 weeks about the wedding or any future plans we've made, and I basically had to corner him this morning before leaving for work to ask him what was going on. Turns out, while he was dog-sitting for his uncle early in February, they had a chat that stuck with him. When they were talking about life and how things have been, his uncle admitted he resented his ex-wife for baby trapping him. And now he's divorced while his ex-wife is dating again. And my fiancé's cousin is an entitled AITA who terrorized him when they were both teenagers. Turns out it's been sitting in his mind. He says that he thinks I'm about to spring a pregnancy announcement on him and trap him in the marriage. This is despite the fact that he knows that I don't want kids. I basically raised my siblings and lost out on my childhood. I told him about not wanting kids when we first started dating. We were both on the same page, and I've even asked him about getting a vasectomy in the past. Which is why it's surprising that he thinks that I'm trying to baby trap him. Thing is, the first chance I got, which still took a long time, I got my tubes tied. I literally can't get pregnant. I reminded him of this fact, and that made him go really quiet. He didn't even apologize or say anything, so I told him that if he's going to be like this over a made-up issue in his head, I don't know how much I'd trust him in a real crisis. Now I'm wondering if I was too harsh, and what steps can we take to move forward? Or if I'm the right amount of angry and I should just end it. I have no idea what to do right now. Now for the top advice. He says that he thinks I'm about to spring a pregnancy announcement on him and trap him in the marriage. I'm confused. You stated that this man intends on marrying you, right? You're engaged? Baby trapping is when someone intentionally gets pregnant using methods like deception to keep their partner from leaving the relationship. Does he actually intend on marrying you? I literally can't get pregnant. I reminded him of this fact, and that made him go really quiet. He didn't even apologize or say anything. I would demand a response from him. His words and behavior are a red flag. I would postpone the wedding until the relationship is in a better place. Maybe this needs to be addressed with a counselor. The only reason I didn't drag a response from him is that I would have been late for work and I have a meeting I couldn't miss. But if he doesn't have a response when I get home, I'm definitely going to call off the wedding, if not the relationship. And do not lie to cover up for him. When people ask, tell them, you were just about to get married, and he talked to his uncle that convinced him you were going to baby trap him. Despite him knowing you've gotten a tubal ligation and despite the fact that he was already marrying you. His behavior threw up too many red flags, and you no longer feel comfortable marrying him. His uncle sounds like a real winner. Why is he afraid of getting trapped into marriage when he's literally planning a wedding with you? Like, huh? Marriage also isn't a trap. Anyone can leave at any time, regardless of whether there's kids. And the fact that he forgot your tubes were tied. Is he dumb? You sound the right amount of angry to me. Personally, I'd be hesitant to marry someone who was so easily swayed by his unreasonable uncle that you're somehow trying to trick him into a life of misery. On top of that, he's been dwelling on this for 2 weeks and never once communicated what was going on with him. He just completely checked out until you forced it out of him. I'm not sure I'd want to marry anyone who A, thinks marriage is a trap for men, and B, let his uncle convince him you're just like his ex-wife in one conversation. C, can't communicate or apologize. D, surrounds himself with such crappy male role models. And E, doesn't understand how tied tubes work. I think this is exactly my problem. I don't know if it thinks I deliberately ruined my life to just mess this up, or I've been lying since I met him. I don't want to make a knee-jerk decision, but I'm seriously reconsidering this relationship. I'd be reconsidering the relationship as well. Are you really sure that you want to be with this man when he, despite you having your tubes tied, questions your intentions at this level? I mean, he knows. So why is this a problem now? I don't think your fiancé wants to get married. It's not just a conversation with the uncle. For whatever reason, he's feeling trapped and uses this as an excuse. You need to have a serious talk with him and be open and curious so you get some genuine answers. You are absolutely the right level of angry. I would be feeling extremely distressed, hurt, and confused. Your fiancé didn't communicate there was an issue, and he is disrespecting you. I would really reconsider whether I wanted to marry someone who has this mindset. Hence the conversation so you can get the root cause. Take care.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay delivery and maternity expenses for the child? Plus updates. Original post. About 11 months ago, I, male 28, found out that my girlfriend, female 24, was cheating on me. We'd been together for 4 years and lived together for almost 2. I thought we had a great relationship. We got along well, regular weekly dates, traveled a lot together, and had tons of plans for our future together. We'd even talked about me proposing as soon as she got her finances in order. I found out she was sleeping with a guy, who's friend with a best friend's boyfriend. I told her to kick rocks and that I never wanted to see her again. She went on and moved in with that best friend and her boyfriend. During that time, she never told her family that we broke up and no longer lived together. A few weeks after she moved out, she reached out and told me that she was pregnant and that she is certain that it's mine because the time she cheated they used protection. For context, my pop passed when I was a child, and I have very little memories of him, and as a result, my family struggles and it affected me for a long time. I told her when a kid is born and is confirmed as mine, I'll take care of everything. Until then, leave me alone. A few weeks later, we met up and she swore off everything that the baby is mine, and said I should help cover maternity and pregnancy stuffs. I told her keep receipts of everything you spend for pregnancy and maternity stuffs. After the child is born, if it's mine, I'll cut you a check to cover all expenses. If it's not, then we'll part ways. She agreed. She then proceeded to get a midwife and a doula for herself, both pretty expensive. She decided on a home birth. Comes time, baby came early and there were complications. She was rushed to the hospital for emergency C-section, and baby was kept in those wards where they keep newborns who can't survive alone. The day of birth, I went to see her and the nurse took me to see the baby. 2 weeks ago, she sent me receipts of everything and it's totaled over $40,000, and she asked for money to pay the doula and the midwife. I told her let's wait for DNA results. Well, turns out I'm not the father. I told her I'm sorry, but she's on her own. She cried and said she and the child are ruined if I don't step up and help them, and went on about how we can have a successful relationship together and raise the kid, and how she's matured and will be a good partner. I told her I have no interest raising someone else's child, and to call on the real father. Well, the guy is broke and is cashier at a local store. Now everyone in her family is trying to convince me to at least pay off the $40,000 before going our separate ways. I said no. Am I the a-hole for refusing to step up here? Now for the top comments before reading the mini updates. Not the a-hole. She cheated and the kid isn't yours. No responsibility towards her or the child. These people trying to convince you to drop $40,000 on a child that's not yours are a-holes. These people can give her the $40,000. And all that talk about getting back together was gonna last until the check cleared. Did she even stop banging the cashier, or is he on hold till the delivery is paid for? Also, she could have gotten a DNA test long before making any serious decisions. Sounds like she knew all along and was trying to railroad you into raising the child. Please run as fast and as far away from her as you can. See, I was thinking that too. The other thing that occurred to me was that she may have already had someone taking care of the expenses that she had arranged for pre-birth, and that she was going to pocket the $40,000 after the fact and use it for something else, because that doesn't seem out of line with her behavior so far. Not a-hole, she made decisions based on her assumptions. So far, she has shown she isn't interested in a real long-term relationship with you. She dug herself a hole and is now asking you to get her out of it. You are not responsible for her, nor her actions. Her family are a-holes for asking you. She is the one who caused the breakup. You were not living together when she incurred the debts, and they are for her pregnancy with another guy. If they are concerned, ask why they are not able to pay. Please do so publicly. I haven't said anything publicly, but I will if they continue. And thanks for your words. Control the narrative or she will soon say you abandoned her and your son. The moment she cheated on you, she is no longer your responsibility. The moment you knew the kid is not yours, he is no longer your responsibility. Let people know about these facts. Still, there will be people telling you to be the better man. Just don't. Ignore them. She wasn't the better woman when she decided to sleep with another guy behind your back, so not your problem. Yes, she still tells people I'm the father. I've had to clarify to a few people already. You just need to make a public clarification at this point. Post those results where she can't keep slandering you. You don't have to give dirty details on the cheating unless you want, but 100% should post I am not the father of X's baby. X knows this because a paternity test was done. I will not be paying expenses for or parenting another man's child. Now for the updates. I had to lawyer up. She's still pushing the deadbeat dad narrative and painting me as the bad guy. Second update. Hey guys, since having to get a lawyer, I blocked her and everything in her circle. I shared with my family and friends the DNA results and they were all baffled by her brazenness. Some of them had a good laugh, especially my mom who never liked her much. My lawyer told her that she needed to fix what she's done and clear my name, or we'd sue her amongst other things. Last night, she made a post on Facebook telling everyone that she and I have not been together for nearly a year, and that the child isn't in fact mine. She made another post and tagged the guy who's supposedly the father. She messaged me on WhatsApp. I hadn't blocked her there. She apologized and said she was desperate and angry at herself for cheating, and wished on everything she never did and that I was the father, and said she hoped we can maybe be friends. I never answered her message and don't plan on it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling off my engagement because my fiancé hangs out with someone she had no self-control when it comes to sex? Original post. I was engaged to my girlfriend. We have been together for about 3 years. We took our friends to celebrate. We all got a bit drunk, and her friend started spilling some stuff about my girlfriend's past. The friend said that my girlfriend finally managed to control her hoe side, and she never could control herself around her friend. More specifically, her male friend. Let's call him Bob. So from what I heard about Bob, he used to hook up regularly with my girlfriend. After we got home, I asked more questions to my girlfriend about her controlling herself. I had to press her, and she confessed that she cheated on previous boyfriends with Bob, and Bob cheated with her. She confessed that her exes never found out. Bob and her still hang out from time to time. They were friends since college. And now I'm here, her boyfriend who was her fiancé, now having almost no trust towards her. I asked for the ring back and she insisted that nothing happened with Bob since we got together. But after learning all of this, I just don't believe her. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Admitted cheating on past boyfriends? Plural? With a guy she still hangs out with that she never mentioned while engaged to you? Do not listen to these people saying you're overreacting. Even if she didn't cheat on you, she hid this from you because obviously you would not approve. The trust is broken before you even said your vows. I used to have a friend like this, cheated on every single boyfriend. I asked her to please stop telling me. She started dating her husband soon after I asked. She probably cheated on him too. I debated telling him, but knew she'd twist it around to me being some crazy jealous friend. We aren't friends anymore. But I bet the friend didn't slip the info because she was drunk. The alcohol was a cover. She's trying to tell Opie. My son did exactly that. He got drunk and told his girlfriend about her best friend's boyfriend cheating on her. My son was also friends with a cheater, but after him witnessing the way he treated his loyal partner, decided it was the final straw that broke their friendship. The guy is a loser, like I said, final straw. Anyway, he knew it would get back to the right person and it did. She kicked him to the curb. Not a-hole. Seeing her past actions, you decided that you could no longer see her the same way nor could trust her. And in a relationship of 3 years, I believe this topic should have been brought up by her long ago, as it is an issue she had with her exes. As you mentioned, none of her exes found out, which means that she was good at hiding it. Hence, it gives you more reason to believe she might be cheating on you too. Good luck. And they dated for 3 years, met Bob multiple times and she never told him. Yeah, very trustworthy. Not only that, from the way the post was written, it sounded like the girlfriend hadn't been honest about her lack of self-control over her hoe side too. especially when it comes to hoeing for Bob. Like if she legit has such a poor control over herself when it comes to keeping her genitals safe and away from Bob, and by extension her issues with cheating on multiple past boyfriends, you'd think she'd work on herself more before getting into yet another relationship. Or at the very least, be honest with her current boyfriend about her control issues, or lack thereof, because one would think she'd learn from her past mistakes, right? Now for the update. I broke up with her. I told her that I need to see her phone if she even wants me to consider staying with her. I dug through her texts and messages. I found out that she messaged Bob about missing him about a year ago. Bob asked to meet up after talking about all the sex they used to have, and my girlfriend only turned him down because I had moved in with her at that point. Her message was, "Wish I could, but hope he moved in. Let you know if I get a chance though. I'm done." I packed my stuff and I'm moving in with my parents. My girlfriend apologized for those messages and insists nothing actually happened. Yeah, sure, only 'cause he couldn't. Thanks for all the support, by the way. Also, I swear to God, some of you all could catch your significant other butt naked with another person, but as long as you didn't actually see them do it, you'd be all like, well, there's no evidence they actually did it, so they clearly didn't cheat. Finally, someone who isn't an idiot. Good on you for losing dead weight. Yes, he made a difficult decision, but it sounds like it was the right one for him. He deserves to be with someone who is fully committed to him and respects their relationship. My girlfriend apologized for those messages and insists nothing actually happened. This is hilarious. Like if a dude went to a bar and tried to hook up with random women, but they all turned him down and he tells his girlfriend, "But I never cheated." Your ex is dumb as a rock. If nothing else, that's a good reason to leave. I don't think she's dumb. I think she was just desperate at that point. I guess she was so used to getting away with cheating that she never actually thought of what to do if she actually got caught. I'm sorry, Opie. However, I'm glad you found out before you got married. And even though nothing happened, the intention was there. If she had replied differently, that she no longer wanted that life, and to cut Bob out of her life as she was in a happy relationship with you, it would be a start, but she didn't. Has your ex tried reaching out to you? Even though she doesn't end up with you, I hope she can learn from this and not carry on her cheating ways. Don't know. I've blocked her on everything that I could think of. Frankly, I don't want to talk to her again. I'm sad to say, but part of me wants to talk to her. Part of me thinks that maybe I misread something. Honestly, reading the comments here is helping me push these feelings away. That's normal. You loved her. You're going to mourn the loss of the relationship, even if it was justified. I'm sorry you're going through this. Trust me when I say there are better women out there for you. The situation isn't a reflection on you. It's a reflection of her as a person. Not the a-hole. You dodged a bullet. Cheating is about integrity and honesty. If your girlfriend had been pretty young and cheated on a past boyfriend once with Bob and then matured and learned better, that might be one thing. But she did it repeatedly with different boyfriends over a pretty long period of time. She showed her character. The fact that she was catchy texting Bob was just icing on a bad character cake. I am happy we won't be reading another AITA post from you 2 years from now, talking about your now wife giving birth and a blood test making it clear you could not be the father and you asking what you do now. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling out my girlfriend when she said she doesn't need no man on a social media post? I'm going to start this off by saying that I, 32 male, sincerely believe my girlfriend, 30 female, is a hardworking and intelligent woman who absolutely deserves the success she has achieved in her life. We have been together for 6 years. When I first met her, she wasn't struggling or anything like that, but she was working in a job that she hated. Around the time I met her, she wanted to go back to school to get her master's degree, but was struggling with the decision because she was worried about taking on more student debt. To keep a long story short, once our relationship got serious enough, I offered to move her in with me at no cost to her until she was able to complete her master's degree and land a job. We were able to make it work, and she landed what she considers a dream job shortly after graduating. That was about a year ago. A couple of days ago, she decided to make a long-winded social media post about how proud she is of herself for how far she's come so far in life. For the most part, it was just harmless fluff. But one part of her post that rubbed me the wrong way
was where she threw in a few sentences of how she was a self-made woman who, despite all struggles, managed to provide everything for herself, and that she's proud that she doesn't need to rely on a man. Not only were these statements factually incorrect, it felt like a slap in the face that she wanted to speak about her life without acknowledging me or my contributions to her life at all. While she studied to improve her life, I provided her with a place to live and food on the table so she wouldn't have to worry about it. Although she did work as a teaching assistant while studying, I encouraged her to use it as her fun money and for additional expenses. Although my expenses didn't increase dramatically by moving her in, we didn't move somewhere bigger/more expensive. I still made sacrifices on my end so that she could put herself through school as comfortably as possible. I commented directly on a post, "Did you forget about the boyfriend who paid the bills while you did your master's degree? Am I chopped liver?" As expected, I got absolutely slammed with replies and DMs, calling me every insult in the book. She herself was livid at the comment and called me an a-hole, among other things, for posting it, telling me that it was completely unnecessary and demanded an apology. I refused to apologize, but told her that I would retract the comment if she edited her post to at least get rid of the "I don't need no man" stuff that I felt was unnecessary. After arguing a bit back and forth, she packed a bag and went to stay with a friend because she needs some space. I'm conflicted about what to think about this situation myself. I know this is just social media, and I admit that I did write that comment as a knee-jerk reaction. But I'm also bothered that she decided to react this way instead of having a mature conversation about this. So, am I the a-hole? Her lie was called out, so she's embarrassed. You're still not the a-hole. I really don't get the people sending him angry messages. What can they possibly say? I mean, she got caught lying. What are they blasting him for? Not the a-hole, but if you stick to your guns here, she may leave, since she said she don't need a man. As long as you are good with that, then keep to the truth. She got what she needed, now she will move on. She's going to paint you as abusive or controlling, and she's a strong, independent woman who moved on from a toxic relationship. She got what she needed. Don't wait for her to dump you so she can feel empowered. Just end a relationship. Don't make it ugly. Don't accuse or fight her. If you must say your piece, just say you don't feel appreciated and don't trust her as an equal partner. That you both deserve the right partner and you wish her well. No fight, no scene. And if she later realizes she made a mistake, do not take her back. That's a big if. But if she does, let her learn the lesson for the next partner. And hopefully you've learned something valuable from this too. To be with someone who shares your values and sees relationships as us versus the problem. Yep, he should just change those locks and move on. Lol, that would be such a mic drop. When she tries to come home and her key doesn't work, just remind her that she is self-made and doesn't need a man. What she did really rubs me the wrong way, especially doubling down on her BS.